Our names are Scott and Lorna Harris from Patton, Maine. The parents of Specialist Dustin James Harris was lost his life in Iraq on April 6th of 2006. Dustin was well, he was a challenge growing up through high school, but he was a good kid. He always had a job right down the street at the Napa store. And he was a big soccer fan in high school, junior high, high school. Very, I can't think of the word I want, but he, people that might have had some learning disabilities or something to that effect in school, he seemed to shelter them, look after them, which was another fine point in his life. But he was a senior in high school when just starting his senior year in high school when the planes hit the Twin Towers, and it struck him right here. From that point forward, he was destined to be in the service. We did kind of defer that for a couple of years. He took after his graduation from high school, he did take a 2-year diesel mechanic course at a community college. But within 2 weeks after he was out of that program, he had signed up for the Army. And he was, like I said, he was down freedoms.
He grew up with military all around us. My dad was in the military. My brother was in the military. He had another uncle that was in the military. So he always had the Army clothes when he was little. And, you know, he always wanted to be, you know, larger than life, actually. He really did. And it's, you know, kind of funny because now he is larger than life, you know. And I know he's very proud of himself for, you know, he kind of, you know, got his wish of being larger than life. But
so tell me, how long, when did he actually leave? And what was the date he left, and how long was he in? And talk about, you know, he served and maybe some of where he served and that.
Well, he joined in the end of June, 1st of July of 2004. He went to South Carolina to boot camp.
Fort Jackson.
And his greatest accomplishment was being a paratrooper. He was really, really proud of being a paratrooper. I think he would have jumped out of planes every day, all day long. He used to refer himself to us on his cards and his letters as your mighty paratrooper. When he got his duty station, he was supposed to be in Fort Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska, but he was only there 3 days. And he was really excited to be in there because they do a lot of jumps to Fairbanks at Fort Wainwright. So, and he was a little disappointed because they didn't do as many jumps, you know, with that as they did down at Fort Rich. But he grew to love Fairbanks, and you know, he like Scott said, he always, you know, wanted to help others, and he was always the lead gunner in the turret. And you're supposed to rotate, and you know, and you're never supposed to volunteer. And of course, when anybody told us that he couldn't do anything, of course, you know, that's when he did it, you know. So So he, when it was their rotation to be in that lead position, if they were married or had kids, Dustin would volunteer to take that role, and buddies, and their families, and wanting them to go home safe to their family.
On
So- Go ahead.
on the day that we had his deployment party, my brother-in-law was a Vietnam veteran, and the words he told Dustin was, "Don't volunteer for anything." So he took that and just reversed it.
But I think that speaks to his character, I think it does. And
Yeah.
personally, and I was get emotional, but we've known each other a long time, and you're a very strong family, but you went through a stretch there. So where was he when he was actually killed? And I know it's hard, but can you share a little bit, because so many people don't know how painful it is, how you heard, and how it impacted the family, because you have another son, and it had to have been a really tough time.
Yeah, to say the least. Well, he was in the gunner position, and they had an IED, and just by some fluke of events, it was midweek. I had been running to Ohio, leaving on Sundays and not getting home until Fridays. And the processing plant that I had been hauling out of on Mars Hill had a bacteria problem in the production line. So they had shut down for a couple weeks to clean everything out. And I was home that week. I had just gone to town to go to the post office to mail a care package to Dustin. And when I came back up over the hill to pull into the dooryard, there sat a government vehicle with government plates. Immediately, I pretty much knew what was going on. So from that point onward, it was quite a spiral there for a while.
I can't imagine. It's like a sucker punch. And so Dylan is younger, right? Your other son is younger than Dustin.
Dylan
Dylan?
was a senior. This was in April. He was about to graduate in June. And I guess the first call was to my dad, which is he's on the other end of town. He was here within seconds. His first mission, he went to school and picked Dylan up, because it was near the end of school anyways for the day. But he wanted Dylan to, be with him rather than the bus pull up and see the government vehicle in the dooryard. So that was, but that was kind of an unfair graduation for Dylan. Kind of took the wind out of everybody's sails, including his.
It did. We watched this process, and we're talking to young people, and I would Dustin do things different, do you think? Because I think there's so much. Do you think he'd do it different? Because I know I've heard you say that he
No.
was doing what he loved.
No,
Yeah.
he would not have changed a thing.
He was very proud to be a soldier. And we were very proud of him, for taking on that commitment and wanting to serve his country. And, fight for our freedoms, and that's what he did. He sacrificed his life for our freedoms, and I don't think
To
he'd have it
have
any
that
other
love.
way.
He had love for his family, to protect his family, and love for his country. And that's huge to act on. I think when we're talking to kids, that's so important to say that it's tragic, but at the same time, what he gave and what he did, and how your family has come together is so incredible. So we're doing this series. We're talking about the Gold Star Mothers. So can you talk a little bit about how you started to come back together, and about the American Gold Star Mothers organization, and how it's helped, and why it's important to preserve his memory, but how this helped you, and how, as painful as these things are, it helps to keep his memory alive.
Well, ever since when Dustin first stepped on the plane to go to Iraq, I knew he wasn't coming home the way I wanted him to come home. I just knew. People would ask in town how he was and stuff, and I don't know what my expression always was, but they would always reassure me, "Oh, he'll be home soon, and his time over there will be up before you know it." But I just knew that he wasn't going to come home the way I wanted him to come home. So when on April 6th of 2006, I was home alone. Like Scott said, he had gone down to mail a couple care packages. And when I rounded the corner from my hallway to my front door and seen those two men in the uniform, they didn't have to tell me why they were there. I knew why they were there. And I don't know, I fell to my knees. I fell to the floor, and they actually walked through my door because they seen me go down. And, like I said, they didn't have to tell me why they were there. I knew, I had that feeling for months and months and months and stuff. And, our lives were shattered and broken. The Gold Star mom, I really didn't know what a Gold Star mom was. And actually, Wreaths Across America taught me what a true Gold Star mom is, because, we got involved just by chance, with you folks. And, I met four Gold Star moms that were in the organization of American Gold Star Moms, and they just took me under their wings, and, piece by piece, we picked up our lives, and continued forward, putting one step in front of the other. But, you have a lot to do with that. Our Wreaths Across America has a lot to do, with where I am today, and where Scott, where we both are today.
I think that his courage, Dustin's courage, came from his parents, because what you guys have done to hold your family together. And I remember when we first met, and I remember seeing Dylan struggle too. And but you do so much good now. The pair of you are out there. You are complete ambassadors for the country. Talk to us, and talk to kids in particular, about how, as a Gold Star family, you can not harbor any hatred against this country, and how you fly your flag so proudly, and the message that you have for young people about what your son did, and why it's important for all of us to have that love for our country and for each other.
Well, main reason, Dustin would not want us to hate our country. He wouldn't be guiding over us like he is if we hated our country, because he loved our country, and he sacrificed his life for our country. And so did all the other fallen heroes in this country. So that's basically why we do what we do, to support our fallen and our living veterans, because that's what Dustin wants us to do. And we know that, we feel that.
And Lonnie, you're very involved in Gold Star Mothers now. And you bring so much to the organization, and you're also on the board at Wreaths Across America, and you've taken that enormous pain, and you got. It's my turn, Scott, because you guys mean so much to us, and the giving. And Lonnie, I remember when my Corey was in a bad place, and how your father showed up one night and sat with me when Morrill had to be away, and the love and support you give for each other. So talk about the Gold Star Mothers and how it's drawn you out to help each other. And at the same time, it's a little bit of a sacrifice because you're away from Scott a lot when you do that. So where's the balance? And talk about how that Gold Star Mothers organization helped you.
I've left her alone for 25 years now, 4 and 5 days a week. So
I know.
she has no problem leaving me alone.
Well, like I said before, Wreaths Across America, I can thank Wreaths Across America for bringing American Gold Star moms into my life. And the first convoy that we did, Arlington, I sent in an application for the organization. And then the next thing I knew, I was asked to, see if I was interested in serving on the national board for American Gold Star Moms. And I really didn't know what that entailed. And I served for 6 years. I started out in the honor guard position. And then I did 3 years as Sergeant at Arms. But it's very soothing and healing for us as Gold Star moms, to give back to our veterans and honor our fallen. I just want to carry on Dustin's mission to serve. And, that's why I'm so involved with American Gold Star Moms and Wreaths Across America. They both have taught me that there's so much love in this country. It might not look it, but there is.